Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP5 every race this weekend at the Cheltenham Open. Max £25 per race, not available in shops. T&C supply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.co.uk.
We're listening to the Racing Postcast. I'm joined by Paul Keeley, David Jennings and Frank Hickey on the line. Now, lots of great action to get through on Sunday, of course. 5 races on Channel 4. 12:45 is the Supreme Trial. Last year, Altior won this following up at the festival. Of course, we've had other notable winners in recent times, including Dodging Bullets and Q-Card. Keels, we're going to see anything of the like, do you think, coming into this?
Hey, it's possible, isn't it? And obviously, we've got 2 champion bumper winners in Moon Race and Ballyandy.
You surprised Ballyandy's in this rather than the 2.5 miler?
No, not really. No. I don't see why he should go straight up straight away. You know, he was beaten fair and square at Perth. But the one thing I would like to say about this is I think both of them are absolutely shocking prices. I don't think you can rate that form at Perth very highly. The third's only rated 116, was given £7, was beaten 20 lengths, but was eased long before the final hurdle. And I think both of them are going to have to come on a lot to do it. And, you know, the market quite often gets taken away by these bumper horses that come out and go over hurdles. And I think Alan King's keeping line is an absolute knocking back. A little bit disappointed there aren't 8 runners, but I'm just going to have a win smash instead. He was a 100 horse on the flat.
Yeah.
Big engine, and a decent one.
Yep.
And after being a little bit too buzzy first time at Huntingdon, when he warmed to his task then, he jumped the last couple of hurdles like a horse that had been doing it all his life. Did it again at Bangor, just jumped really, really well. And when you get a horse rated his sort of level on the flat that can jump so as neatly as he does, they tend to be able to go a long way. And I'm really excited about this horse, and I think 6 to 1's a massive price.
Massive price for Kills. I mean, Frank, how is the market shaping up for this one?
2 seconds there, sorry.
It's computer
I think
problems.
we were 6 to 4 Ballyandy, 13 to 8 Moon Racer, and I think we're out to, is it 6 to 1 keep in line?
Yeah, 6 is keep in line. Amazing value.
Okay, and I mean, DJ, do you have a view on it?
I do. I fancy Moon Racer. I think he'll win.
Right.
And I'll run behind DJ there.
Right, well, need you say no more. Okay, moving on to the 120, Race Post Arkle Trophy Trial. Of course, Paul Nicholls has farmed this race in recent times. I think he's won 5 of the last 8. And, I mean, what's your view on this one, Kills?
I think it's a good race. You could probably make a case for most, but I think Le Président is probably the one to beat.
Gets the weight as well, doesn't
it? Decent second last time.
That was a good race, wasn't it, you Toxter?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was a good race. And I think he's a horse with a fairly decent attitude. I know a couple of people knocked him when he didn't go past It's a Freebie at Haydock last year over hurdles, but I think It's a Freebie is a real tough horse. Going places, and obviously ran really well at the festival as well. So, yeah, I like the Président. Not my sort of race because you're not going to get much of a price.
Okay, DJ?
Yeah, there's so many Irish in this, but the Irish in it are grade 3 horses. They're going to struggle to win grade 2s and grade 1s. Le Président is the one with most potential, and I'd be very surprised if Le Président was beat.
Yeah, Frank, are we going to make this a clean sweep for Le Président?
It is. I'll echo what the 2 lads have said. That's I think this will definitely win.
Right, well, that's guaranteed to lose now. We've all given that the kiss of death. But on to the 155, the Schlur Chase, of course. This could be really interesting. You've got Fox Norton, of course, since changed hands after he bolted up in handicap last time out. And we've got the old boy Simon Sig likely to run on the card as well. It's hard with Simon Sig, isn't it, Paul? Because you don't really know what's still under the bonnet in many ways.
Well, yeah, exactly. He had that one good run at Punchestown last year, and you don't know what to expect. I mean, I always thought he wasn't actually as good as everybody thought he was. I was quite surprised he did so well at Punchestown, to be honest. I think I laid him 3 places that day, but you know, he's a decent horse. But I mean, he was favourite earlier in the week, and he shouldn't have been favourite because he doesn't even have the best form. I know he's getting weight, but Special Tiara, if he's fit enough and he doesn't have the best record fresh, and the ground stays on the good side, I think Special Tiara ought to win. Fox Norton is the other one up there in the market now. He's taken a massive step up. As commanding as his win was at Cheltenham, it was off a handicap mark of about 146. Now he's giving £4 to a horse rated 168.
Yeah.
So it's a massively different
ball game. Yeah.
If Special Tiara was fit, I think he'll win.
And Frank, how's the betting shaping up for this? I can imagine we've got 3 almost vying for favouritism now, have we?
Yeah, it's very tight at the top. It's 11 to 4 Special Tiara, 3 to 1 Simon Sig, 100 to 30 Fox Norton, 9 to 2 Top Gamble, 10-1 Simply Ned and 16-1 Bar.
I mean, do you yourself, Frank, you think it's between the protagonists, or is there going to be something left to field getting involved here?
I think, well, not left of field, but if it does rain, there's a fair bit of rain forecast, I think, over the weekend, particularly Saturday. And if that's the case, I think it'll bring Top Gamble right into it. Now, if they get a lot of rain and the ground does get soft, I think he wouldn't be a bad each way bet, to be honest.
What price you going Top Gamble?
He's 9-2.
9-2, I suppose. Yeah, the ground in its favour. That one's got some.
Yeah, but you need the ground to go soft for
He's
him.
got a
But
big
if it
pen,
did,
though, isn't he?
he does.
Yeah,
But I
that's-
just think if he gets out in front, he'll keep on going on the soft ground. It just mightn't be ideal for Fox Norton, especially Tara, if it did get soft. Now, it's purely dependent on how much rain.
Yeah,
If they don't get that
yeah.
much, I wouldn't be going near him.
I mean, the action just keeps on coming, doesn't it? We'll have to shuffle
What
along
about
to.
Dave? We haven't got Dave.
Go on, DJ, then. Go on.
I'm going to do something that you should never do in life. I'm going to disagree with Paul Keeley. I think Simon Sigg was every bit as good as everybody said he was when he was in his prime. Look, that day in the Neptune, I thought he was fantastic. Everything went wrong in the Arkle and he still won it. I know he only beat Bailey Green, but Lord, he was so keen, and that's the thing, he is so keen, but I think the vibes are fairly good. I think he's by far the best horse in the race. So I think 3-1 is pretty fair. Now, Paul is a much more profitable punter than I am, and he obviously speaks.
I wouldn't bet on it, mate.
I think threes is fairly okay. Like I'd be willing to take that because I think he is the best horse in the race, and the vibes are good. And now might be the time to catch him. He's a kind of a keen, he's going to be enthusiastic tomorrow, and he hasn't had that much racing in the last obviously 2 or 3 years. Yeah, I thought that run at Punchtown was a cracking run, to be honest with you. I'd be willing to roll in with Simon Sigg at 3-1.
Okay, well, apologies for that, David. We'll move on to the Great Wood Hurdle now. And while we're on it, DJ, your view in the big one?
Yeah, I've been all over a hairbreadth for a long time. I think I started thinking about a hairbreadth for the Great Wood back in bloody July or August, to be honest with you. Look, I think he's really well handicapped off 137. He won the novice handicap this meeting last year off 120. It was a good enough race. Double W's is now rated. He was third. He's rated 140 over fences, and I just thought even the race itself probably didn't go according to plan. There was a lot of hurdles though. Miss it that day. I think there was Low Lion Sun. But then he went on, and I thought nothing went right the next day. Barry Garrity rode him at the December meeting. He didn't jump well that day, which is unlike him because he's a really good jumper. He absolutely bolted up then at Kempton. He won by 10 lengths. Now, it was a poor race, but when you're in the novice hurdle by 10 lengths and only go up £3, I think that's really interesting. Again, I'd forget his last run. I know I'm forgiving him a lot of times here, but I would forget his last run. I still think
He burst a blood vessel, didn't he, that day, I think?
He did, yeah, which is worrying, obviously. But look, Ben Pauling has said he's never had him better. I think 4 of his last 7 horses have won. The stable are in cracking form. I think he's a bloody good horse. I really do. I think in this race, I think you need to be 10 or 12 pounds well in, and I think he is. I backed him at 16-1 and 14-1. I think he's 10s now. I could even see him going off shorter. I think he's a good horse.
So there's not much confidence behind that one for DJ. And so a hairbreadth, Frank, for DJ. I mean, what price are you with him and the rest of the runners in the field?
We're 5-2 Winter Escape, 7s Modus, 9-1 to DeBello, 10-1 Stern Rubin and Brain Power and North Hill Harvey, 10-1 Leo Cavallo and a hairbreadth, 12-1 John Constable and 16-1 Bar.
You getting involved yourself, or have you already got involved yourself?
I am balls deep on Winter Escape.
Well, that's the funny one. Yeah, I was going to say, obviously, totally unexposed. The Maracuja form looks smart, and I'm assuming you're on a lot bigger prices than his current one.
Well, I think we did a National Hunt preview about 3 weeks ago, and I put this up as my horse to follow for the season. The mark of 142, based on that Welsh Shadow Maracuja form, looks pretty lenient. And then if you factor in that he could have improved over the summer, he is the one horse that could be a 155 horse at least. And I've been chipping away at him now.
And he's working with Sco Royale apparently, so that obviously, those pieces of work is obviously going down well.
Yeah, I did say it in the office that I thought it was significant they were keeping So Royale away from this a couple of weeks ago, but I was kind of shot down to that was irrelevant. But I do think if this wasn't working really well at home, they'd have sent So Royale to this race after he won at Cheltenham the first day. So yeah, I think this is going to be very hard to beat if he's improved. He's going to be impossible to beat.
Would escape for you? Back, lay, ignore?
He's one of those. It would not surprise you at all if he came there cruising at the last and absolutely bolted up. I don't actually think he's massively well handicapped on what he's done on the course. But you know, there's talk that he got injured slightly afterwards, and he hung a little bit at Kempton, and it might have happened. It might even have happened then, because I wasn't that impressed with him. I expected him to beat Maracuja, who has obviously turned into a decent chaser since, but I expected him to beat Maracuja more easily than he did that day, and I don't think the time was particularly brilliant, but he's got a lot of potential.
It's the unexposed angle, which is exciting,
quite
isn't it? Yeah.
inexperienced. I
Yeah.
mean, he's going in against a big field of, of hardened handicappers here. So, if you've got a decent price about him, then good luck to you. But I couldn't even touch him at 5-2. I put up Leon Cavallo. I won't say I backed because I bloody forgot, and I can't believe it.
That's
I
one of
looked
3
later
Ben
on the day,
Pauling,
it
isn't it? Yeah.
halved in price. It wasn't really a horse I expected to go that short, but Leon Cavallo is just a really, really consistent horse. He's tough, he's game, he's got a good attitude. He probably doesn't have a vast amount ahead of the handicapper, but the only time he's completed and finished out the first 2 was when he was 5th in a triumph that I think was a good triumph. And so I think he's got an each way chance. And the other one, we were all talking about back in North Hill Harvey last week against So Royal at Wincanton. And he actually started this week at 25-1 for this race, and he's down to about 10s now.
Yeah.
He was highly tried again in Grade 1 races when he probably hadn't shown anywhere near Grade 1 form.
Yeah.
And Harry Skelton has picked him over Chittibello, who's got some really rock-solid handicap form. So you've got to give him a chance too.
So some each way alternatives against the Jolly. And DJ, to wrap up on this race, I mean, where's the wager going to be going?
On the Greatwood, is it?
Yeah, on the Greatwood.
Yeah, look, I can see what Frank is saying with Winterscape. He is the one that could be a champion hurdle horse, like more of that in the bet fixture. But I just think a hairbreadth is quite well in. So yeah, it's a hairbreadth for me. I still think 10-1 is value.
So still 10-1 value for DJ then. We're going Winterscape for Frank and Gills have to nail to one selection.
I'll stick with Leon Cavallo.
Leon Cavallo for one of potentially 3 runners for the informed Ben Pauling yard. And then to wrap on for the rest of any tips on the rest of the Cheltenham card, we've also got the Topol Southern National at Fontwell at 1 o'clock on Channel 4. Anything else elsewhere for you, Paul?
Not really, no. I couldn't get my head around the Topol Southern National. I will have a little go at it later, but not now.
Okay, and then gents, we'll come to you, DJ. Anything else elsewhere, or you more interested in the Irish action, shall we say? There's a decent card at Navan, isn't there?
There is an absolute cracking card at Navan, my local track. Yeah, obviously the Mullen hurdle, you've got Jerry's Girl making her reappearance for Gavin Cromwell against Shane's Hill. The versatile Shane's Hill, you've got Snow Falcon to dig out the plotting shed. It's quite interesting. Snow Falcon has race fitness on his side, so he might be a little bit of a price and might be value in that. You've got the novice hurdle at 110. I can't understand why Mick Jazz is down to be declared to run in this race. There's no jockey on him yet, so I'm hoping he won't run because he's seriously well handicapped, and I'm hoping he's keeping him for a handicap hurdle at Fairyhouse early next month. But Lamar Talan of Noel Meads will probably win that, I'd imagine. And then you've got probably the best beginner's chase of the year so far, with Annabelle Fly, Gertine, Martello Tower and Tycoon Prince all against one another. Cracking race. I think Annabelle Fly could have plenty to offer over fences, but I think Tycoon Prince has been working well, and he is quite interesting. But I just think Annabelle Fly could be a Grade 1 horse over fences, so I'm hoping Annabelle Fly will start the season with a win over fences.
Do you know what happened to Annabelle Fly last season? Because when last thing I heard, it was going to run in the Galway hurdle. It was all the talk, and then just seemed to disappear.
Yeah, no, I agreed with you. I talked it up in a column about Galway in a couple of weeks previous to it, but I rang Tony and he just said, I think he's treating them like a Grade 1 horse, and that was kind of music to my ears. I think he thinks he's very good and has done from day one. He's also won his maiden hurdle at Navan, so yeah, I think it's just a case of, not rushing him when he was, not rushing him last season. He already had his job done by winning that handicap hurdle at Punchestown, so fingers crossed he's going to turn into a Grade 1 horse over fences.
Okay, fingers crossed there. Frank, have you been banging on in the Paddy Power offices about anything to try and add into a Super Heinz?
Yeah, I just thought there was a couple of interesting ones on Sunday at Cheltenham. Now, again, this is a little bit dependent on the weather, but that Clonat Allig House of Tony Martin's won very easily up Muscle Barton. It only got £7. If it doesn't rain too much, I think he's got a big chance. If it does rain and gets a little bit softer, that Altice de Guy of Martin Keatley would be of interest, and that should be a big price. And Brahms de Claremont would be very hard to beat in the bumper. In the listed bumper. Then in the final, I did have a look at that Southern National.
Yeah.
This one again will be a little bit for price. Ballyhoig Bay of Chris Gordon's. Just a couple of pieces of form made of interest to me. It was third at Sandown last December of 131 over 3.5 miles behind Carl's Destre. I think it's off £4 lower here. It's got proven stamina, and I think it'll be a big price, probably an each way play. And I agreed with David. Annabelle Fly would be very exciting to see over fences. And we have the Lismullen and Fortria Chase price up there now as well. If anyone's up
Go on far away.
What price is Ballycasey, Frank?
7-4 Ballycasey,
Oh.
11-4 Gamble, 130 Tellismore, 5-1 the Game Changer, and 20s Bar. And in the Lismullen,
That'll go off much shorter than that.
yeah, I'll tell them they've rigged it then, Dave.
Gilgambo over 2 miles. Stop.
And the Lismullen were 2-1 Doris Girl, 9-4 Shane's Hill, 5-1 the Plotting Shed, 6-1 the Degout, 10-1 Snow Falcon, and
10-1
Bars.
Snow Falcon. Oh jeez. 10-1 Snow Falcon. He will not go off 10-1. Not hope.
Like, scrap these prices and start again, I think is the motto.
That's what happens when I don't price them out.
Brilliant. Well, gents, I mean, we've had covered so much action there. It's been fantastic. Le President for me on Sunday. That's the one I'm going to be banking on. But I'm going to have to say goodbye. But thanks to Frank, to David, and to Keels for joining us. And join us again on Monday, where fingers crossed we'll be joined by Sam Twister Davis. So thanks for listening. Speak again soon.
The Racing Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They pay more extra places than any other bookie.